Hi everyone and welcome back to the Monastery of Flavor with St. Anthony Industries. Today we have a special guest with us. It's Passenger Coffee. This is Tyler, and then also in the studio we have Josiah and Andy. I just wanted to introduce Tyler and Passenger because I've been communicating with them for the past few months. He's the retail director, correct? Of
Yes.
Passenger?
Yes.
Okay, and then we will be getting to know them and their company a little bit better today. I will be off on the side answering questions and just kind of bopping in questions anyone needs. I won't be here, but Josiah is going to be learning some new things today.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn some things. So before we get started, we have some questions to ask Tyler about Passenger Coffee. Also, September's going to be part of the conversation. We came up with these questions together to ask you about Passenger, where you come from and stuff. And then after that, we're going to pull some shots using the BT wedge, which is a really unique way to pull shots that I've never actually done. So you're going to have to show me. I dialed my machine back to 7 bars like you instructed. And then, yeah, we're going to go from there and try to dial in a good shot using just the BT wedge without tamping. So really interesting. Anyway, so Tyler, tell us about yourself. How long you been with Passenger?
So I have been with Passenger for almost 8 years now. So quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long has Passenger been around?
So about 9 years, just over 9. And it started off, just wholesale. There was no retail in the very beginning. So, there were people from other states that knew who we were, but a lot of people in Lancaster had no idea. And then our very first, about a year and a half in or so, our very first retail location was an old Airstream trailer.
Okay.
So that was our first run at a retail experience.
Yeah.
Just a large toaster, if you will.
Yeah. Was it hot? It was hot in there.
Yeah, so we opened, I think it was the first Friday in June, and it got pretty sweaty in there. We'll say that. And then we had the chance to open up our first location, where I'm sitting now on King Street, but that wasn't until the following year, and we actually stayed open through the winter.
Okay.
There were a couple times where we had to shovel out the Airstream
Yeah.
to be able to serve. So
Wait, where are you located? You're
we are in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it gets super hot and humid there. My grandparents are from there.
A little bit.
Yeah.
July and August especially can get pretty rough.
Yeah, definitely. How'd you come up with the name Passenger?
So it kind of depends on who you ask. But for me, I think Passenger was started by a few different people who they were all originally from Lancaster, but had spent some time traveling and doing other things, and they all kind of found their way back here around the same time. And one of those people had cafe experience, one of those people had roasting and sourcing experience, and one of them had a warehouse that they were renovating and wanted to do something with it, but they didn't know what. And so it's kind of the idea that we're all passengers ourselves, and we're all on a journey. So, just kind of that idea of travel, and also our very first mascot, if you will, was a train conductor.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The conductor has since been retired, as we rebranded a few years ago, but.
Yeah, your branding looks great, by the way. Here's we have a couple other bags right here, so if anyone wants to see. They sent us some larger bags. What are these, 2 pound, 3 pound?
2 pound, yeah.
2 pound bags. So do you sell 5 pound bags as well? Wholesale and stuff?
So our standard, so both of those coffees that you have there are available in 10 ounce, 2 pound, and 5 pound.
Okay.
And then some of our kind of smaller lots are, everyone has their own word for it, but some of our reserve lots, if you will, those are also available in little 5 ounce bags. So, just a it's a small little taste.
Awesome. So as far as your roasting goes, can you tell us some, does Passenger have any like specific roasting characteristics that you would vouch for that are different from other roasters, or any roasting characteristics unique?
Yeah, so I would say, of the vast majority of things I've tasted, specifically in Pennsylvania or in the States, if you will, I'd say we're quite light-handed when it comes to roasting. Trying to be, just allowing the coffee to fully express itself and ensuring that you never actually taste the roaster itself or any roast qualities or even anywhere near that. Our stuff is roasted quite delicately.
That's what I was gonna say is from drinking your coffee, I'm not getting a lot of like the smokiness that you get from other roasters. It's really like clean, crisp like notes and stuff in your coffee. Like if you get like a coffee from Colombia or Ethiopia, like I think this one is, right? Like you're not getting too many similarities between those two roasts. You're getting like a unique Colombia, and then you're getting a unique Ethiopia without that overarching like smokiness carrying over into both, if that makes sense, like a lot of roasters do. So kudos to you guys on that. That's hard to do.
Yeah, I know it's always, historically it's always been categorized light, medium, dark. That doesn't always kind of help paint a picture of what actually is happening though, and everyone's got their own versions of what that means. So for us, it's really just, we try and stay out of the way as much as possible. And we really want to try and showcase different regions and different varieties and, what the earth is trying to say through the coffee. So, so as delicate as possible, avoiding those, under roasted qualities though that you might get. Pretty light.
Well, what's your favorite roast? What's your favorite region that you roast?
So since I've been here for so long, almost 8 years now, there's a few producers that we've had the chance to buy from for 6-7 years. And so I've gotten to taste those and see, their farm progress. So I would probably have to say Santa Barbara, Honduras would be some of my favorites.
September's over there like,
there's a couple producers that we've gotten to buy from year after year there. And also, one of the other things I think that kind of makes our menu unique to a lot of others is we are one of a few that we practice vacuum sealing and freezing unroasted coffee. So, and that goes for both of the bags that you have right there. So everything's roasted to order, but we have pretty much all of our coffee. Everything on our menu is at an off-site freezer facility. Once a week, the team goes and loads up the warehouse and puts it in the smaller walk-in that we have at the roastery, and then things are pulled out, thawed, and roasted fresh the day after. That allows us to. There's oftentimes our menu will have 2 different harvest years from the exact same producer or farm side by side.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which you don't really get to do.
That's unique,
Because the 2020 is gonna taste old, and the 2021 is gonna be fresher and good. But it allows us to basically freeze it in time, pun intended, and still showcase what it presented when we first got it in, but multiple years off harvest. So.
That's awesome. And I was gonna say that like a lot of people don't understand that green coffee is produce, just like anything else, you gotta store it properly, and then like if you don't store it properly, it continues to like age and get like musky. And then when you roast it, like some people, like they'll start off with, they order a big lot of green beans, and then as they roast throughout the months, their coffee changes. The taste of it changes over the next few months, but you get that consistency because you store it properly, which is awesome.
And it also allows us to kind of step outside of the limitation of seasonality. So during the time of year when everyone's kind of really wanting some fresh Kenyan coffees and everyone's menu is kind of dry, we can release a couple that we've just been sitting on. So
that's awesome. Yeah, you can have out of season coffees. That's sweet. I love it. All right, so let's get more personal. So when you go into a coffee shop, what do you order? What's your style?
So I usually drink hot coffee pretty much all year round. Iced is fine, and I'm really proud of our recipes and our iced coffee, but I prefer hot typically. So my go-to drink is a really short Americano. So, you pull an espresso and you almost just kind of splash water in there. So, just about 4 ounces or so. Perfect.
We call that in Utah is an Italiano.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of shops around here call that an Italiano, where it's like in a Gibraltar glass. You pull a shot of espresso, and then you put like 2 ounces of water in it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Maybe we'll do that. We'll do that in this stream after we pull a good shot. We'll try it.
That's what I'm sipping on right now with the Agaro. So
that's awesome. You have any more questions, September, before we get started? You feeling good?
I just would say their geisha. We got their geisha that one time.
The Colombia geisha?
Colombia geisha. I haven't stopped thinking about that since we got that from you guys. I have not.
Oh, was that the Divino Nino?
Yeah.
So that is a really amazing partnership that we've been able to work on over the years. So the Keystone blend right next to you, 50% of that is the Agaro right behind it, and the other 50% of that is from that same group of producers in Colombia, Divino Nino. So
yeah.
Why I love that one so much. I think I had Josiah for 3 pots of it.
I felt bad putting it on espresso, but we only had these two here because we drank the rest that you sent us. So I was like, oh man, I want to pull their coffee on the bar here, but I didn't have any that were like more darker roasted. I mean, you don't really do any like closer to medium roast, more soluble coffees, or do you? Is that why you changed the methodology of how you pull shots of espresso? Get into that.
So we've never roasted or had we've never wanted there to be one coffee on our menu that was roasted multiple different ways for different brew methods. We kind of just want to bring out the best in the coffee itself, and then see how it brews in multiple different methods. So we've never roasted specifically for like this one's for filter, or this is for espresso.
Right.
I'd say like the most developed coffee on our menu would probably be the other blend that we have, the Stowaway. But that being said, it's a far cry from it's still really it's still pretty light.
Yeah.
But that's present more of those like bittersweet cocoa, molasses, like less acidity, less forward. Yeah.
Well, I was asking if that's why you had the certain specific methodology for pulling shots of espresso using your coffee, because I did a video the other week. I was showing people how to pull a lighter roasted coffee on a Breville machine, like a home espresso machine that a lot of people have now since the lockdowns. This is fourth wave, right? You think this is fourth wave, where people are making espresso from home? They're the home baristas.
I do find it like everybody picked up a hobby during that time, which I think is really cool. Actually, speaking of which, did anything that you picked up during the lockdown?
I picked up a wife. All
right.
But jokes aside, but with the espresso machine, the Breville machine, people are having trouble with the lighter roasted coffees, and so what we suggested doing, if they're not able to get a good shot of espresso without it channeling or spraying with the bottomless portafilter, because lighter roasted coffees don't expand as much in your basket and they're not as soluble. And so one way you can compensate for that is with the Breville machine specifically, you can hold down that button and it does, half pressure. And so it's a little bit easier of a pull, and it doesn't channel and spray as much as it would otherwise. And so with the lighter roasted coffees, we dialed the machine back to 7 bars, right? And then we're going to tamp a little bit lighter so that pressure can saturate the grounds and pull nice and easy through the shot. And I think that's a really unique way of pulling espresso, which I have the machine set up and I have pulled a couple shots, but I don't think I've done it right because you use an EK grinder at your shop, right?
Yeah, typically for we have one coffee that's on as our house, if you will.
Yeah.
That's from a farm in El Salvador. A little more rich, chocolatey, a little more cocoa, but some nice citrus in there, but something fairly approachable. And then it's really popular for someone to come in and get, Niagara as an espresso in their cappuccino versus what we have on as a house. Kind of livens up the cappuccino a little bit. So yeah, for that we would use an EK43.
Sweet. Okay. So should we pull some shots? You have any more questions? You have any questions for us? Or you have any questions, September?
No, I'm ready for everything.
We're ready to go?
I'm ready for everything.
Are you ready to go? All right,
Yeah,
so let's start off. Tell us what you do. How do you pull shots with your coffee, specifically at your shops there in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, so both of our shops, we have a super simple, basic La Marzocco Linea EE. We have the bar pressure down to 7.5. Mm-hmm. Our boiler temp is at 208. So obviously, coming out of the group head is a touch lower than that, but that's just kind of where we've always enjoyed it. So yeah, start off, first of all, a nice, clean, dry portafilter. Mm-hmm. Do 20 grams in the basket. And then instead of, we started off brewing by hand.
Okay.
And one of the things that always bothered me about that initially was, first of all, your hand gets really dirty from touching the espresso.
Yeah.
So we started messing around with distribution tools. The very first one we ever had was an OCD tool. The one that looks like 4 fans on it. Mm-hmm. And we really enjoyed that. We just had it set super, low, so it wouldn't really go into the basket much. It would just distribute everything as it's supposed to do. And then we saw the distribution tool that y'all made, and we got one, and we realized that if you have the grind fine enough, for some retention, and you put the wedge far enough into the basket, you can actually have it do both. So yeah, we put 20 grams in the basket. We grinding that fine, especially with some of these lighter coffees, you'll get a lot of clumping from the grounds. So we actually have these cute little plastic cups that fit perfectly over top into the basket.
And then so you shake it?
Just give it a quick little shake.
Okay.
And you settle, and then you take the wedge, put it on top, give it a few spins, and then you're all good.
I wonder if we have anything here that will do that. I don't know if this would. We could probably make that work. The plumb bottom fits on there. Maybe I could shake it a bit, try to replicate it,
Yeah. And then we started off doing the classic 20 in, 40 out. We have 2-to-1 ratio.
Okay.
And then we ended up tasting and really enjoying how 2.5-to-1 ratio would express itself. So we do 20 grams in and 50 grams out. As far as time goes, You know, I've spent years kind of like driving myself crazy with, you know, worrying too much about time, or even worrying about like, how does it look when it's pulling, you know?
Yeah.
And spending less time on like, well, what does it actually taste like though? And do I enjoy it? And how can I replicate that? You know, I spent a couple years super worried about, you know, making sure I was
Too much.
reading
Yep.
Espresso and making sure, seeing what the total dissolved solid content was. And, you know, you just kind of drive yourself crazy reaching for certain numbers as opposed to just brewing and enjoying. So,
yeah, exactly. It's quit trying to like make it do what you want it to do and let it do what it wants to do, you know? Yeah.
You know,
Love it.
I always tell my baristas that, you know, coffee is just gonna do what it wants to do, and it's best to just acknowledge that and try and work with it.
Yep.
Because it's just gonna do whatever it wants, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah, we started that way with St. Anthony Industries as well. Like Chris, you know, we started off, you know, doing some pretty kind of unique things, you know, designing certain kinds of machines and trying to hit certain markers and whatever. And then Chris kind of, you know, he kind of was like, you know, it's better like if you let the coffee relax and, you know, let it draw towards the water, you know, kind of thing, and rather than trying to like make it do its thing. And I like how that's kind of your methodology, is loosey-goosey, easy, follow what the coffee's trying to do. So
yeah.
And then you said you up dose in your basket. You go have 18 gram basket, you dose about 20, right?
Yeah. 18 gram baskets, and we'll put 20 grams in there.
Your coffee is heavy though, so it could be that you're dosing the same amount of volume as like a regular medium roast, but your coffee is just heavier, which I found to be true, because we had a darker roasted coffee back here, and if I can put 25 grams in this basket with your coffee, nice, like really easily. If I did 25 grams with a darker roasted coffee, it would be like overflowing over the sides. And so that's why I tell people dose according to volume of your basket, not by weight, and then weigh your dose, and then do that for the following doses so that you can replicate what you're doing. So I like that. Let's do this. I'm gonna try to accomplish what you do at your shop. I don't have an EK grinder in here. We have an EK in the other unit, but in this one we have our Anfim grinder. So I'm gonna do my best. I already coarsened it up a little bit. I might do a little bit more, because you said you pull like 22-second shots or whatever. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those there. You know, again, especially on the EK 43 when we're using that, they are fairly quick extraction times.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's one of those things where I would always, you know, push it and see how long it could go before, you know, you pull too much or it's, you know, too long. And I always ended up enjoying the faster pull times. So again, it's not trying to get too in the weeds of looking for certain times or certain extractions, but more just what do I enjoy more, and why, and am I able to do that time and time again?
For sure.
It's low, or, you know.
Definitely. All right, so I'm gonna grind. So our basket's like a 22 gram basket. So I'll probably end up dosing like 25 grams in, and we'll go from there. I think we have a top view going here, so you can see, you know, what I'm doing in this area. Here, let me move this stuff over so you can see better. For you, Tyler, you're gonna have to watch on YouTube because we're not able to change the view on the Zoom meet. But we're actually pulling this Keystone on Espresso here, and then I'm gonna weigh out my portafilter, and I'm gonna try to do what he said he does with our plum bottom. He uses a little, you know, thing, and I'm gonna shake it in here to get that that initial, you know, distribution before I use my BT tamp, BT wedge distribution tool to tamp. That's what I was trying to say. All right, so let's go. Low dose, about 25 grams. This first one might turn out horrible, by the way. I hope it doesn't, but See, look at that. That's 28 grams. That's crazy heavy coffee. I love it though. I think denser coffee has more complexity to it. You know, if they grow at like those higher altitudes. You said that this is, the keystone is both the Ethiopia and then it's that Geisha Colombia you were talking about. Is that correct, Tyler?
Yeah, so it is from that same group of producers. It's called Divino Nino. They're in southern Colombia. So that is a community blend, if you will, of 2 different varieties from a bunch of different producers there, mixed with the agaro from Western Ethiopia. So yeah, both with the elevation of the Ethiopian, and then that really unique area of southern Colombia, you get some really cool complexities from it. So
I had my tool dialed all the way out from before because I was trying to achieve like a 30-second shot.
Oh,
But I was like, I don't know how they do this, man. But you're saying you pull like 20-second shots. So you're doing like a 1-to-1, which I used to pull like 1-to-3 ratio, which most people do a split shot on, and you have like a 1-to-1 shot, which we used to do at the shop that I managed, which is interesting. Okay, so I'm not a foreigner to pulling shots somewhat like this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do with my BT wedge tool, I'm just gonna show people what I'm doing here, Tyler, so that they're able to follow along. So I loosen the top here, and then I can dial my base out and in like that. It starts at 0, so I'm gonna dial it out. I had all the way out is about 60. And so I'm gonna dial it at about 40. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go from there. I actually just 26 grams in this basket. So I'm hoping to pull like a really freaking massive shot, I guess. So what's a 1-to-3 of 26 grams? What if we just went for 60 grams out, Tyler? How does that sound?
Yeah, I was gonna say, or if you want to, you could get a little wild and just shoot for 75 grams out.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Okay.
Oftentimes what we'll do when we're trying to figure out how far to have the BT wedge actually go into the basket, that's kind of the first variable that we'll play around with.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to open tomorrow morning at the shop and switch what coffee I'm using as the espresso, I kind of put the wedge down until it, if it doesn't flatten it anymore, if there's still a little line in the middle, and at that point what we'll do, take it back up a little bit, and then just focus on the grind from there. So
yeah, well, this is perfectly flat, so which you can achieve with the BT wedge. I don't know if you can see that, but the people who are watching can. Oh, I'm going the wrong direction. So that's perfectly flat from the BT wedge distribution tool. So let's pull the shot, see if we can achieve. Let's go for 70. Let's go for 70.
Sounds good.
It's the most massive shot I've ever pulled. Here we go. All right. Woo, it's fast. Okay, we're getting a bit of spraying here, which is interesting. So I think I need a bit more density on my shot. So I'll just pull my, I'm gonna go for 20 seconds to see how high the yield is on this. I have the feeling it's like way off. So in 20 seconds, I got, almost 80 grams, and it was super swirly. I think if I put a bit more pressure on it with my BT wedge, it'll hopefully fix that. All right. This is fun. I enjoy stuff like this, man. This is fun. Everyone's trying to, find their signature way of making coffee. And I think you guys have found it, so congrats.
Yeah, we've always, pretty much in everything we do, we've always tried to honor and what's been time tested and what just works, but also be open to new and exciting tools and ways of thinking about things, and kind of trying to strike a balance between the two.
Yeah.
And I think there's multiple different ways to do all of this, and I think they're all still valid. So
I'm also going to just dial my grind a little bit more fine. Just a little bit. September, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How
Yeah?
are you all doing?
Any questions in the chat yet?
Not any questions from
No
the chat.
questions.
What's your favorite treat on the side of your coffee? A sweet or a savory?
probably sweet. Probably sweet.
You like a scone guy?
Well, actually, I was gonna say, so we just recently added baklava to both of our shops.
Yeah?
That we get locally, and that actually with our Keystone blend as like a filter coffee, it's it's like perfect. So yeah.
Gosh, I'm so excited to go to Pennsylvania sometime in my life and go to you guys.
Sometime in my life.
I want to go soon.
I love
want to
it.
go soon. I want that Montreal stuff. It's so good.
I had baklava in the Middle East, and it was awesome. I think it's Turkish, isn't it? Baklava? Or is it an Arabic treat?
I believe it's.
Oh, I should dial this out a little bit. I'm gonna dial it out one more turn. So we're at 50 now on our tool.
I know the woman that we get them from locally. She doesn't have a shop or anything. I believe it's just catering, but she's from Egypt.
That is so cool.
Oh, Egypt.
Very delicious.
All right, so here's our second attempt. The changes that I made, I dialed my tool out one more spin, so we're at 50 on the BT wedge. I also made my grind a tiny bit finer, so I've made two changes. I did my dose 26 again, and we'll see how the yield turns out in 20 seconds. Woo! Nice and sprayy again.
You got this yourself.
I know, this is tough, man. I feel like that looks a little bit better than last time. If I could do like a pre-infusion, that would be awesome, but I can't. Okay, so looks like our yield is 65. So we're close with our yield and our time. I'm gonna do a little bit longer time in this one. That's, I think, again, this is like, the Keystone blend is a super light roast. So I think I just need to fill my basket a little bit more or something like that, because it's not gonna expand so much. So I'm gonna try upping my dose and then increasing my time and see if that does anything.
Of the espressos that you were pulling earlier,
Yeah,
how were those taste-wise?
they were unique. They were awesome. I think, so I was pulling longer shots time. So I was like, I was doing a harder tamp with my BT, and I was pulling like 40-second shots and a 1-to-2 ratio. And so it was like really oily, really creamy, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it didn't have, it was missing a lot of bitters in it, you know? So I think if I would have pulled a little bit higher yield, got a little bit more extraction out of it, I didn't really dial it in, if that makes sense. But yeah, I was able to achieve like 40-second shots with the BT, and I was still getting a really flat bed on my espresso, so it was interesting.
Nice. Well, yeah, and that's, I also interact with a lot of different customers on through our website, online, or through Instagram, and that's often what I tell people too. Is I'm like, our water and etc. It's like just taste it and see what you like and record that so that you can do it again. And yeah, just most importantly, have some fun with it.
For sure. So I increased my dose here. Getting a little bit of the shake going down. All right, I'm gonna distribute here. I might go with the same depth since I increased my dose. All right, I got a flat bed on here. I could tell that was a little bit more pressure on there, so I think that's gonna help. I like how these live streams are just like long form experimentation and conversation. How much time do you have, Tyler? You good on time?
Yeah, no, we're doing good. We're doing good.
All right. Here's our attempt number 3. Third time's the charm. A little better there.
What?
Look at that.
You're really into coffee.
Sorry, what was that?
What really got you into coffee? Like kind of your first experience where you're like, oh, I love this.
When I was young, my dad drank, quite a bit of coffee, so I was around it quite a bit. But I think what really got me intrigued by coffee was when I have 2 older sisters, and they bought me a Starbucks caramel frappuccino. I don't remember how old I was, maybe like 9 or something, and yeah, that was kind of the gateway for me. Was a frappuccino. So.
I love it. Well, as a kid, so good. I love frappuccinos as a kid, man. And now if I have a frappuccino, I feel so crappy afterwards.
Oh, Tyler, I also forgot last time. So you guys partnered with Necessary Coffee, don't you?
Yes, so we actually are Necessary Coffee.
Okay, yeah,
well.
that's what it was.
Yeah, so quick, like elevators teach about Necessary. So a lot of the places we've been sourcing from for quite a few years, we're kind of constantly asking us when we could purchase more coffee that they produced. And at the time we were still fairly young, just a few years in. We didn't really have the storage space that we have now. We didn't really have a place on the menu for a lot of those other coffees. So what we did was so for example, the Agaro that's sitting there on the counter. So that's from a group we buy from every harvest. Everything on the passenger menu is roasted in such a way that you're not seeing any roast characteristics at all. Want it to be just fully expressive on its own, and not that tossing out numbers as far as scoring goes is always helpful for retail customers, but the passenger menu is 86 and above, and then the necessary menu is anywhere in between 84 and 85, 75. So if you go onto the necessary website and you see it says Ethiopia, that is actually from the same producers of the Agaro. It's just a point or 2 below what the Agaro is for, and we buy it in very, very large quantities, and develop it quite differently than the passenger menu. So not that I would. It would be kind of crude to say that with passenger you don't taste roast, and with necessary you do. but we wanted Necessary to be hyper approachable. People who are looking for their coffee to taste like coffee, if you know what I mean. So yeah, less acidity, less brightness, less fruit forward qualities, more of those develops, browning sugars, molasses, rich chocolatey, a touch of roast on it. So we have Passenger and we have Necessary, both of which, are roasted and stored in the same location in the same warehouse. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, Tyler, I think it did it. This was a good looking shot. I mean, you could see it on YouTube if you were watching while you're talking. We were showing the shot on YouTube, but it's more close to like a standard shot, but it pulled nice and easy. We're at 7 bars of pressure. We pulled a shot for 28 seconds, and it was about a little bit over a 1-to-2 ratio. So it was like 60 grams out, and I put 27 grams in. So yeah.
That's good.
But I wasn't getting that swirling and spraying out of my shot like I did the previous few times. So I'm gonna taste this, and I'll let you know what I think. I need some water here.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. All right. It's extremely sweet and really smooth, like creamy. Like this is like one of the creamiest shots you can achieve. It's interesting because I think you just like letting the coffee relax. You get a lot more of the oils out of the coffee. I don't know, and maybe less bitters out of it. It's really sweet. Like I said before, it is a high dose. I'd be interested. I wish I had an EK grinder. Maybe that's the issue, that I want to pull like a 1-to-3 ratio like you were, because that's how we would achieve 1-to-3 ratios was with an EK, even though we had a peak grinder at our shop before. But yeah, this is awesome. You want a shot? I think we should make a latte out of it and then conclude the stream.
Totally down for that.
You down for that?
I would love that. Because
you went and got milk.
I did. I went and got milk. Did all the hard labor.
All right, one more shot. Let's get this. That's awesome. I like how this tastes. It's unique. It's really unique, for sure.
Passenger.
It's Passenger.
And Necessary.
Well, plus like this blend, like you said, it's that Ethiopia and then that Divino Nino from that Colombia farm, right? It's awesome. Oh, dropped a rag. It's okay. All right, let's see if we can replicate this. So this is the cool thing about our tools. Another thing is like once you dial it in, it's dialed in. You can't mess it up after that. So if I do the same thing, hypothetically, it should turn out the exact same way. All right, here we go. Which is cool if you have a baristas, in your shop, you can dial in your tools and be like, okay, all you have to do is dose the right amount. You do your little shake thing, and then it's the same puck density every time because you dial it in. Same puck density, perfectly even surface grade because the tool is perfectly even. So when you spin it, it's like completely flat in your basket every time. So that's the cool thing about the BT and New Levy tools, which I have the Statesman tamp out here, but if you get the block party, it looks really cool. So, all right.
The walnut maple walnut block.
Yes, walnut maple block.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah. So, what are how did y'all get into coffee? What was your gateway into this wonderful world?
I think
you first.
I'll go first. So I grew up Mormon, so I was told that coffee was a no-no. But all my dad's siblings left the church, and one of their huge thing was coffee. I'm super close with them, and so my aunt would sneak away when she would be into town, and she'd be like, "We're gonna go get a coffee. We're gonna go get a coffee." And I'd be like, "Okay." And she drinks her coffee black, no cream, no anything. So she gave me a sip one day, and after that I was hooked. So I went straight into liking coffee from black coffee, and then I kind of got into the mixture of like the frappes, the lattes, the other ones. So I have to definitely say it was my aunt and uncles that were like, you must drink this. This will help you. And
Nice.
it did, in my opinion.
For me, so I'm just watching this shot, so I'm trying to concentrate on both. I just don't want to see any spraying, you know? That's kind of my goal here. For me, my parents opened like a coffee shop, and it was like a second wave kind of coffee shop. It's kind of getting more into the realm of specialty coffee now, as far as I understand, but it's in rural Utah. So I grew up in Utah, but I didn't grow up, you know, Mormon like you.
I didn't even grow up in Utah.
But
So.
oh, look at my my shot pulled about 60 again, and again, like I like how we pull shots here. We don't weigh them when we're pulling them, just so we can show you that like the tools are what make the consistency happen. This is 60 grams out in the same amount of time, 28 seconds. So yeah, it's a perfect replication of the last shot. If you wanted to change it, you could. Anyhow, so I'm gonna make some milk and then I'll continue with my story, I suppose. So coffee, my parents started a shop. I started like, you know, volunteering. It was like a non-for-profit shop. And then I started getting into baristaing that way. And then I moved to Salt Lake City. I worked at a few shops here, managed a shop in town with La Barba Coffee. And then, yeah, started working here. So I've been in the professional realm of coffee for about as long as you now, I guess. So about 7 to 8 years now. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Do you know where my pitcher is? Oh, September's gonna grab my milk pitcher because we're gonna make a latte out of this. I'm curious as to how it responds to the milk, but then after that, we'll conclude the stream and we'll say cheers one last time. You still have coffee in your cup?
I do.
Nice. You've been saving it. I love it. All right. So, let's talk through the steaming here. So what I do is I, get that water out first of all, and then set it on the top of your milk. Get some air in there, and then dive. Get that whirlpool going. I wish we had a camera on it, but we don't. Our apologies.
Oh, Tyler, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Are there any West Coast shops that carry your house espresso?
I know there have been a few over the years. I don't know if there's any at the moment that do consistently. I would have to get back to you on that.
All right. That's no
Yeah.
worries.
Oh
Yeah.
goodness, not good at all.
I think
Not
that's
horrible.
great.
It looks fine.
Is that for me?
All right. I think I spilled. Oh, it's not good at all because I spilled. It's running over the edge here. It's for you, September.
Well, I'm gonna
All
drink
right,
it
and we'll
anyway.
both cheers. This is the good shot here. You have the latte.
Can I cheers this?
Cheers it. Spill it over the side like a beer. Boom.
It's Picasso.
Cheers, Tyler. Thanks for coming on our stream.
Yeah,
Everyone.
thank you so much.
Everyone on the stream, thanks for taking the time with us in the Monastery Flavor as we learn new things and we go live with people whom we love across the country who make great coffee that we can all enjoy. Thanks for what you do, working at Passenger, making awesome coffee for everybody. And until next time, we'll see you next time in the Monastery Flavor. Cheers.
Oh,
Cheers. Thank you.
this is amazing.